Hi there. So I've seen quite a few reels recently on how can you be a new you if you haven't worked on your shadow side. Obviously, it's all linked to the new year, which I'm not fully engrossed in, if you like, anymore. I used to go out and party, do all the new year stuff, but no. Anyway, so if you haven't worked on your shadow side, there's some of the reels that I've been seeing recently. Now, the thing is, not many people know what their shadow side is, and I did a reel ages ago about this, but because I do follow astrology and I use astrology as a navigating tool for life, I would suggest if you really want to know your shadow side, then have a look at your Lilith placement, specifically which house Lilith is showing up in, because this is a huge indicator of where your shadow side is. Now, your shadow side, in just like the most simplest term, is the thing that you try and hide. So in your mind, your actions, your behaviours, you can try and hide stuff, and you can try and deny that they are. You didn't have those thoughts, you didn't act that way, and that's your shadow side. And what you do when you integrate that is you accept that, yeah, you did have those thoughts. You don't condemn yourself for it, but you know that that's not actually your intention. And what you do then is you accept it, laugh it off, and try and integrate it into your life in a way that is also healing and transformative. So anyway, going back to Lilith, have a look where Lilith sits for you. So if Lilith is sitting in your first house, for example, her hair looks like a cone, you will have an identity issue. First house is identity. You might show up as someone else. You literally take on the identity of someone else. You never truly show people your own identity, and also you can actually feel ashamed of who you truly are. And as you grow, you realise and accept who you are in all your glory. And actually, you can also have a really strong body, because the first house is the body, so you can really work on strengthening your body. And you might have body issues earlier on in life where you constantly have body dysmorphia, and with that you're not really truly happy with who you are. And then that leads me into the second house. So Lilith in the second house. Second house is about self-esteem, and also what we do for a job, how we earn money as a job. And so with Lilith in the second house, you can be really greedy, you can be very materialistic, very withholding, you can have low self-esteem issues, to the point where you can sometimes self-sabotage because you don't feel like you're worthy of something. So then the third house is more about your friendships. You can be someone that talks a good talk and is able to communicate well with people and your friends, but you might not be a good friend. You might be quite two-faced. You might be someone that tells people what they want to hear without actually telling the truth. And so your integrating of your shadow side is trying to be more honest, trying to not pin people against each other, stop being crafty, try and really be integral. The fourth house, I live in the fourth house. Tell them that my son's on Fortnite. Calm down. The fourth house, Lilith in the fourth house can feel like you don't feel nurtured, or that you feel ashamed nurturing yourself and others. So it can be a rejection of nurturing things like affection in relationships. It can be a lack of nurturing your own body through healthy foods, things like motherhood as well. You can reject motherhood if you are a female, or reject fatherhood. You can feel like the nurturing side of life, the softness, you have problems with establishing a really good home where you feel comfort and nurtured. You might always be someone that lives in a more of a sterile environment where affection isn't open, and so you're integrating, allowing yourself to feel more from the heart and more in establishing a proper home that you feel like you can nurture yourself and nurture your body as well as your mind, and also nurture your children better, you know, breastfeeding, things like that. So then the fifth house is about the showman. So the fifth house can be someone that is ultra creative, who only aspires to laughing and fun and being in the center of attention and always wanting the limelight, someone that's got a massive ego and arrogance. And integrating that would be to learn to be ambitious and creative in a way that is helpful. It's about definitely being the centre of attention, but using it for good, not just for fame. Then the sixth house can be around work and schedules and service, and yeah, you're someone that doesn't give service to others, only takes, can't keep a work schedule, can't keep a consistent way of exchanging time for money, isn't able to turn up on time, isn't able to commit to any sort of work schedule. That can be Lilith in the sixth house. Lilith in the seventh house is all about relationships and partnerships, and how do you show up in your relationships. Some people in relationships purely for the fact that they benefit from having the other person around. You see other people as a tool to use and to get what you want from them, and that's it. You don't really care about really deeply about them as an individual. Do they actually heal and help you, and do you heal and help others through your relationships, or are you just in that relationship purely for the fact that you get the benefit of the financial benefit, assistance and help? It can be where you feel also that you're not good enough to be in a relationship, that you need to be alone all the time, that you don't want other people around because they trigger you so much, but actually you'd really benefit from having someone in your life that does show up and reflects to you how you behave. Lilith in the eighth house. Oh, what a placement. Lilith in the eighth house. Oh my God, have a look. It's about the occult. It's about vulnerability. You can be attached to, like, you could be a sex worker that uses people purely for their sexual pleasure. You can be a sexual deviant. You also can reject your sexuality. You feel like it's disgusting, taboo. You don't ever want to tap into your sexual energy, even though sexual energy is a very calming, creative and healing energy. You can be someone that is very, very attractive to others, and you use that only for your benefit, to manipulate, to interrogate. It can be, someone that's in a cult that completely sacrifices their own self, deep, dark stuff. Like, you want to have a really good look at that, because there might be something in there that can teach you how to heal. Lilith placement is your shadow side, so it's all about coming back to that healing. So then the ninth house is someone who is a voyager, who's an explorer, who wants to constantly travel, who can float from one relationship to the next without any serious commitment, or once it gets to a certain point where you've actually got to stick around for the hard stuff, you can flee. You can also be someone who is only interested in educating themselves, or more of a book smart than a street smart. They can't get down on a level with everyday people. They always have to come back to, oh well, I've studied this, I've studied that, because the ninth house is all about education, but it's also about philosophy. It's about traveling, it's the house of Sagittarius. You think about Sagittarius, half horse, half man, wants to gallop off and run off. It's the anchor, the archer, shoot into the next goal. So they can be very, very high and mighty above everyone. Whereas actually they need to come back down onto a level, maybe stay in one particular local area, get to know those people, become part of a community more. And then Lilith in the 10th house can be the workaholic. It can be the person that will just use anybody to get to the top of the mountain. It can be the corporate mogul. It can be the big fat cat boss who's just trampling upon everyone, including the planet, and only thinking about the money. It can also be someone that has zero ambition whatsoever. They feel like if they have ambitions, that is taking them away from the home, but actually in this life they need to go out and work. Lilith in the 11th house is about community connections. It is about our higher dreams and values. So it can be someone that is hyper involved in the community, and their whole identity is based on being this certain person within the community, and people can't really get to know them because they hide behind the community. People like what's a good example? The nosy neighbour within the community, or a leader within the community. It can be the Karens of the community. I hate to say that word, but my Jamie says I'm a Karen. Just little does he know. The 11th house is about our dreams and aspirations. These people can really lack dreams, and they can feel like if they were to dream beyond the culture that they were brought up in, beyond the community that they were brought up in, then that would be a sin, that would be taboo. Not necessarily religious, but more like this is the way it's always been done, and so I can't go out of that, even though there is this yearning to do so. And then Lilith in the 12th house. Lilith in the 12th house is about being the ultimate person to sacrifice all the time. They sacrifice themselves for others, they self-sabotage, they completely let go of their boundaries for others, they can use sex as a weapon as well, because the 12th house is bed pleasures, so they can learn to really seduce people without the love and care there that is needed to sustain a healthy sexual relationship. Secret affairs are here. They can get into secret affairs. Lilith in the 12th house can represent people in psychiatric wards that have gone to prison, that have gone deep inside their psyche, and they've been put in isolation because of something that they've done. And so their shadow side is to work out how to put boundaries in place so that they can help heal people, because Lilith in the 12th house is a healer, but to the point where they don't sabotage themselves. So anyway, I hope that this was maybe a bit of a help. If you've got any comments, questions, please let me know. That's just my brief breakdown of Lilith placements and integrating your shadow side. Namaste.